Hey, welcome to my channel. If you haven't been here before, Overpowered Ally came up with that name because Overpower is a card in Sorcery, which is that game right there, and it's also my favorite trading card game in general. So this video you're about to see is a match from here in February from the Champ of Champs, where it was actually the top 10 seeded, not really seeded, but top 10 players from last year, from 2024, got free entry to, and then the rest, anyone else who wanted to come Friday night got to play in for the last 6 spots. Ended up being 8 spots because of a error, but that worked out. So we had 18 people playing on this Saturday in February for the Champ of Champs, and this video is going to be the last round of Swiss. There was 5 rounds of Swiss, and the top 8 are going to make it into a single elimination bracket to crown the Champ of Champs. So I'm not going to I'll do commentary over it. If you want to watch this video as well as other videos from there and other tournaments, go to Overpower Adventures, that YouTube channel. You'll see a lot of those, or just go to the official Overpower YouTube channel, and you'll see a lot of theirs where they have commentary. They do their own recording and do their commentary. Sometimes at the tournaments, at Champ of Champs, they did a commentary after the fact. I actually guest commentated on one of those, so go check those out. And while talking about Overpower resources, you can go to, there's also Marcel's Overpower Mountain podcast, I think it's called. So go to there, Overpower Adventures, like I mentioned, where you can see some other ones of the non-commentary tournament videos. They also have a podcast every Monday night. I co-hosted on one of those about a month ago too, as well. So, or maybe longer, I don't know, time, what is that anymore? So just wanted to kind of give my thoughts more on Overpower and the relaunch coming here in general, especially for those who I've only done Sorcery box openings until now. And if you want to hear a little bit about Overpower and just a little bit about the gameplay, I'm not going to do a play-by-play like they do at the Overpower, the official channel, but just talk about it while I show my game, which is me versus Ty in round 5 of Swiss to hopefully get into the top 8. All right, happy watching. So yes, here we are in Overpower. So what is Overpower? Some of you might say, many of you might say. It's a game. It started out as Marvel Overpower back in 1995, and it lasted until around 1999, 2000, somewhere in that time frame when the last set came out. All Marvel going bankrupt, and just kind of led to a lot of things going on, including Overpower dying and them trying different games, I believe. So we had Marvel. There was also DC Overpower that came out. I don't remember if it was a year, 1996 maybe, 97 somewhere. It was soon after. And then Image Overpower also, and all of these were compatible. It was back in the day, all the cards had different backs. Well, Marvel cards all had the same backs, and then DC and Image all had their different backs. So yeah, you had to start using sleeves to mix and match them. But here, I'll give you a breakdown. If you look, I'm on the left here, and I'm playing against Ty on the right. This is a very, very unique, one of a kind game, I believe. You get to pick any 4 characters that include Marvel, DC, Image characters, and soon to be, I'll talk about more with the new relaunch that Lazarus Rising Games has acquired the rights to Overpower, and they have a set that just got kickstarted, about to come out, and about to announce a new IP. They've already partnered up with Image, with Top Cow, for some more Image-related sets coming at some point soon. But their big IP is about to be announced here any moment now. Maybe already by the time I get this posted, it will be announced. And the set with the Kickstarter is a lot of ERB characters, which is Tarzan, John Carter from Mars. They got a license with them. Edgar Rice Burroughs is what ERB is for, and then they also had some public domain, like a lot of some gods and whatnot. So it's I'm excited for it. I'll say I was a play tester for their new stuff, and it's gonna be great. Fans of the old game and new fans alike will find a lot to love. So here in this game, you have your 4 characters. On my side, I have the hand right there, who I just placed a card to. We'll talk about placing. And Scarlet Witch and the New Warriors are in my front line, as we call it. You each have 3 characters up in the front. And then in the reserve, as we call it, you put 1 character back there. I have Chaos, I believe, is what his name is. I had never heard of him. I was never a big comic reader. Most of my comic book lore I got from I collected a bunch of just trading cards, all those Marvel masterpieces, all those, and would read the backs of them, and or just watch my Spider-Man or X-Men cartoons. That's where a lot of the lore I got from, and I don't know why. I just never got into the comics themselves for whatever reason. But that tangent to say is I don't know Chaos or Zaus as some people like to call him, but I'm pretty sure it's Chaos now. Um, he's in my reserve. So basically, the ones in the front are the ones that can do most of your attack, well, all of your attacking, defending, all that, and the character in the back usually can't play anything. They're just there for once one of your other characters die, they come up. But some characters do have cards that they can use from reserve or something special about them that they can still do while they're back there. And then on Ty, you'll see he has Scarlet Witch, Mephisto, and Grunge, who is actually from Image. And then Silver Sable in reserve there. She's one of those very common reserve characters because that card placed to her there is a teammate can avoid an attack of 9 or less, and it can be played from reserve. So there are certain characters that have those types of cards that can be played from reserve. So strategy is to try to get one of those back there. And with this game, as you see, I just turned that card on the bottom sideways. I just took some, they're off the screen, unfortunately, so you can't really tell what he bet. But yes, bet. It's all about venturing. It's not just, well, not all about, but it's not just about knocking out your opponent's characters, KOing them. That's one way to win. If you get rid of all your opponent's characters, you can win that way. The other way, and more common way, is to win your mission, which is what you bet that you are going to damage the opponent more than they're going to damage you that turn, this round, which each round consists of just drawing 8 cards and battling it out. So I can't tell what, I think I just bet 1. I turned it sideways, and I think he might have bet 2. And at the end of this round here, whoever dealt more damage to the other gets to move their missions up to the completed mission pile, and the opponent moves their missions down to the defeated mission pile. And you just keep playing that, and if all of yours get down to the bottom, all 7 of your missions, then you lose. Or if all 7 of yours get to the top, you win. So that's another win condition there. There's also a thing called conceding, where even before the match, after you venture, both players have the chance just to concede right there if they don't want to take damage to their characters, because damage carries over from round to round. There are ways to remove damage, but anything that hits stays. And it's hard to tell from, I guess you can probably see, all the characters have a grid on them where they have 4 stats. They have energy, fighting, strength, and intellect. Some of you who maybe just played at the very beginning, right when the card game came out, there was no intellect. There was only the first 3 stats. And then they later on added intellect and reprinted all those cards with intellect now. One thing with the new game coming out, that LRG is releasing here soon, is they changed the names of some of those stats. I know there were some legal reasons that they had to alter some parts of the game, but it's fully compatible still with the old cards. I know the tournaments that they're hosting are just going to be all brand new stuff only, but I'm part of the NAOL, the North American Overpower League, and we're still running legacy events that have all these old characters mixed with all the new ones, and LRG is very great with that happening as well. So, but I know on their official tournaments, it will all be just the new stuff. So for those of you wanting to get in the game, get some of the new ERB, the World Legends, I believe is what they're calling the set, and the ERB and the World Legends. It's the Kickstarter set. So, and plug. I know I talked about it beforehand when I went to Champ of Champs here, where this is at, was in Columbus, Ohio, and this is at Heroes and Games, their card shop there. That's Doug Sims owns that, and he's also the host of Overpower Adventures. But I believe, I don't know if they still have some, but he was going to put some boxes on pre-sale there. So go there. I bet the Orange King. If you go to theorangeking.com, that's also one of the official place to get Overpower cards in general. All these years after, Larry there will sell you boxes. I'm sure. I'm betting he got boxes for that as well. And then hopefully, I mean, some of y'all local game stores might have got it, but I know LRG is looking for people. Go find their Discord, the Overpower. I don't remember if it's just called Overpower Lives, or go find the official Overpower Discord channel. I'm newer to Discord, so I'm still learning how to talk the talk with Discord, but yeah, there's a Facebook group and everything. And I think I'm going on multiple tangents over and over here. But back to the game. Energy, fighting, strength, intellect is what these have on them, and they range from 1 to 8. And in to attack, the basics are you have power cards, which are just the 4 different colors, grids, I guess you could say, 1 through 8, and you can attack. So Scarlet Witch, she has a 7 energy. That means that if you had an 8 energy in your hand, she could not use that to attack or defend. But if you have a 7 energy, 6 energy, she could use that to attack and defend. And it just, you take turns going back and forth, attacking, defending. There's also these special cards, like you see that X-Man that I hit Mephisto with is a special card. It just says it acts as one of any, it's a multi-4 that can act as any of those colors, and then can play an additional attack. I'm not going to get into too many specifics for some of the cards, because especially me and Ty playing some very utility-based decks where there's a lot going on here that's not quite normal. So yeah, since a lot of newer people I might be expecting who don't really know this game are watching, I won't go into it too in depth. So what was I going to say about this special card? Oh, well, I think something good to know for you all would be, how does a character die? It's if they take 20 damage or more, unless they have some sort of ability that changes that. If you see there's little words at the bottom of some of these cards, those are inherent abilities. So some of them might have something where it says, oh, they need 30 damage to die, or something to that effect, where Grunge actually has something like that, where the secondary conditional way to kill someone is if you hit them with 3 icons. So if they have a fighting, an energy, and a strength on them, then they die. Grunge has a special one where it says he must have an intellect icon hit to be KO'd. So that is one that it's, I know Ty uses that to his advantage. One of the cards there that you see is in between Mephisto and Grunge is basically one that anything I try to attack Mephisto for actually goes to Grunge.
We miss you, so Marcel, just so you know.
Yes, very much.
Protecting Mephisto, and anything intellect that goes to Grunge, he has a nice combo that Grunge has this defensive special card if he draws it that lets him defend an intellect icon card and then draw a card. So one thing on this game, the card advantage is key. Well, that's most games in general there. So what I just turned over right there is an event card. Those there's so depending on what missions you use, you can use the events that correspond with that mission. And this is one that just right when you get one, you play it, and whatever it says happens. And this is one, so my deck is actually one where I'm trying to kill my own characters because I get to draw cards because of them. And this event is called the KO event, and we both have to KO one of our characters. So most people playing against this deck do not like that.
I've never heard of there being
people don't like the KO event. And so you can hear Doug in the background. I think in this video, a lot of the other ones, if you go there, you can hear the players a lot better. On this specific recording, I think the microphone might have been backwards or something, so you can hear Doug talking and I think typing there at some points to the people in the chat, but you can't hear me and Ty very well. Okay, so I think here we're just talking about the order of operations. Does the player who's going first have to pick who they're KOing first? That's what we're talking about here. And we weren't quite sure, but I know who I'm going to KO. I KO the New Warriors because they have an inherent ability that says when they die, I get to draw 2 cards. And Chaos, who I had in the back, who pops up now, his inherent is when a teammate dies, I draw 1 card. So that allows me to I KO New Warriors and draw 3 cards automatically. And I tried to build my deck to not have many duplicates, which is something I haven't talked about. You can't have more than one of the same card in your hand, otherwise it's a duplicate you have to discard. So that's a way when you're deck building, you don't want to just put a bunch of the same card even though it's good, because if you draw like 3 in one hand, you got to get rid of 2 of them. Another thing with the New Warriors inherent, when I got to draw 2 cards for them, they allow me to keep duplicates of those words. So if you can kind of see on the side of my hand there's 2 of the same card there because I actually drew 2 duplicates with them, and that's very helpful to be able to keep duplicates. So at the very beginning, I know I talked about placing. That's something you do at the beginning. So that just the way a turn goes, you draw you play events if anyone has events. Those just kind of happen automatically, and then you redraw for the event. If you have two events, you don't redraw for it. That counts as a duplicate of sorts. So you just draw one and have to discard the other. Then you discard duplicates after the event phase, and then you start placing cards. So one at a time, starting with the player who goes first. I place a card, he places a card, so on and so forth. Once you're done placing, you can't place anymore, but the other person can still keep placing until they're done. And this is a way that here's where a lot of the strategy comes in: placing and venturing being your missions, and then sometimes just conceding. Maybe you'll place all your hand out and just know that, hey, I'm gonna place all this, have a nice advantage for next round, and then just gonna bet one and concede, no matter how many they bet, unless the opponent bets for the win or something like that. Then obviously you have to play it out because you can't just let them win. But a lot of times that's what players will do, especially on the first hand, just place everything out and try to build up their war chest, as a lot of people say. And what I just placed there is another type of card called a teamwork. There's universe cards. So I mentioned power cards, which are just your 1 through 8 to the different I want to say grids, what are they called? Different stats: energy, fighting, strength. The word leaves me. But then, yeah, you have special cards, and then you have universe cards is one of the other types of cards. And this one is a teamwork. Those are very powerful cards, especially in the legacy environment. They were nerfed a little bit in the new sets coming out, but it's just one that the top number and color there means that character has to have that amount to use it. Then it acts as a level 6 energy attack, and then it gives bonuses to your teammates. So then your teammate can make an intellect attack or a fighting attack at plus 1 here for this type. I think it's hard for me to see from what I'm looking. And then a second teammate can also make an attack of the opposite type. So if the first one made an intellect attack, the next one can make a fighting attack at a bonus also. So it's just a way to get some strings going and just try to put some KO pressure where you're just trying to knock out your opponent, quicker than they have defense for. So teamworks are great in that respect. There's other cards like that X-Men special I talked about earlier that is on Mephisto. And you may be asking me at this point, like, how did I get an X-Man special on there if I don't have X-Men on my team? So here is another thing that is not going to be part of the new ERB set, at least yet. We'll see if they introduce this. But if you see where my characters, you see Chaos Scarlet Witch in the hand. Right below the hand is this battle site. You see it called Onslaught Citadel. So there's something in the Legacy game that came out. It wasn't in there initially. It came out several sets later, but it's called a battle site. Initially, you just had these cards called any heroes that were specials that say any hero or any character, and you could use those in any deck. And then they came up with this idea called battle sites, which has a list of 6 characters on there, and you can place specials from those characters under this battle site, and in your deck you put character cards for those characters in there. When you draw one of those character cards, you can, on your turn, whenever you want to use it. It's called an activator in this sense, when it's a character card in your deck. You play it and you replace it with one of the cards from under your battle site and use that card. So I had drawn an X-Man's character card in one of my hands, so I was able to use that to take one of his specials that I had from under the battle site and use it. That's how that got out there. And one rule is that if you're using a battle site, you can't use any heroes, and vice versa. So in the new game, I know they did simplify a lot of rules, so it would get very complicated at these tournaments and lots of rule calls because of the way these interacted. Every set back in the day would bring some new mechanic, and the way they interacted, it got a little crazy, and not all the cards were worded quite properly, or they didn't know some of these mechanics will come out in the future when they worded a card a certain way early on. Because the game, started out just, it was a good game, but I feel like it was more just also a marketing tool. Just they wanted to make cards that people wanted to buy, and some of the gameplay was simplified and not quite as thought out as it could have been, knowing what it would turn into. So that's one thing that I'm really happy for the new sets coming out that we're gonna get. We have a new rule book, and it's gonna be very much more defined, and there's not as many card types yet. They might add that back in and hopefully have a much better definition for how these things interact. Because the other type of card that is not going to be in the new set, at least yet. I bet they will soon, is these artifacts, which is if you see placed to Scarlet Witch, that top card with the red border, that's an artifact, or just on the hand character there to the top left of it, you see an artifact. Those are basically a fourth type where we talk power cards, special cards, universe cards, and then these red border ones are called tactic cards. And then that will take me, I guess, to, I won't really speak what artifacts are. They're just another thing that you can use that help out stuff. So now you know the character cards, you know those types of cards. You have the battle site there, and then down, if you look where Chaos is, bottom right, that's the Odin's Vault. So that is a home base. So every deck can have a home base. If you look at him, he has Skelepion, which is over there to the bottom of his Onslaught Citadel. So that's, we're both using an Onslaught Citadel battle site, and he's using Asclepion as his home base. My home base is Odin's Vault, which actually is going to be in this new ERB set. So there's no artifacts in it, so I don't think anyone's going to be using Odin's Vault in any new tournaments. But I'm sure they'll bring artifacts into play. What this does is it costs some deck building points, which is another thing that I'll talk about. Deck building points are just how you can't just put any heroes into your deck. You have to calculate their threat level, and for most decks, like we'll say, yeah, usually we'll keep this simple. They have to add up to 76 points or less. And so the way that you would calculate this threat level in this legacy game is you would add up all their stats. So Scarlet Witch is a 325. I can't. So you would add that up. So she's a 17 points. And the ways you add those up, and as long as all four of your heroes total to 76 or less, you have a legal team. What Odin's Vault does, though, some of these home bases add to that threat cost. So Odin's Vault costs, I believe, 2 points. So then that means the rest of your team can only add up to 74 points. In the new game, it's not always what the stats add up to give you your threat level. They have a new little icon in the bottom left of the hero cards with a number on there, and that is their threat level. And this is great because someone like Scarlet Witch back then, you add up her stats, she's 17, counts at 17 points. A lot of people use her. As you saw, Ty had used her too, and I had knocked her out of the game earlier. She's a very great character, and if they were doing it the way they were now, then she would be worth more than 17 points. So the way that they're assigning threat level now is not just adding up the stats. If they have some really great cards or something that makes them special, they're going to bump up their threat level. So it balances the game much more because of that, the way they're doing that now. So I'm excited for that fact. And then, so I was talking about my Odin's Vault home base down there. Just it cost 2 points, but allowed me to put 3 artifacts under it. And at the beginning of my turn, I can discard a card from my hand to take one of those artifacts and put it in my hand. And again, these artifacts are just things that, like the one that's under there still is one that bumps a teammate's fighting grid to 7 for the remainder of the game. So that's how some of these artifacts work. And the thing is, I can discard a duplicate even, because it says before the duplicate phase you can do that. So if I have a duplicate, okay, I'll throw that away and get one of these artifacts instead. So it works pretty nicely in that respect. Ty is using Asclepion. So his home base, what it does is it deals with removing hits from your permanent record. So as you're hitting characters, so another new thing, and the segue there, there's the hits that happen in this battle are called from the current battle, and then the next battle they get tucked under you, and now they're part of your permanent record from here on out. So that X-Men card that was played rounds ago is now under Mephisto, so that's on his permanent record. All these other hits that you see here that are sideways are just hits from current battle, and those it's also a way to so you know what the venture total is this battle, because hits from previous battles don't count towards our venture total when we're seeing who wins the missions. So, but the Asclepion that Ty has, the home base, basically says when he removes a hit from one of his characters from the permanent record, he gets to draw a card and can then immediately make an attack. And that one actually doesn't have any threat cost, so that can go in any deck. And then it helps out with a lot of those cards. There were some cards that removed hits from the permanent record, but a lot of people wouldn't play them just because they don't affect venture total. So people like to. It's good to be more competitive, to have only be using cards that affect miniature total and help with card advantage. Um, so when I talk about universe cards, there's actually other types of universe cards that add to your power cards, but people wouldn't play them often because it's basically 2 for 1. You play a power card with this universe card, and it just acts as 1 attack, and it's one of those that you don't want to play very often because of that. But in the new game, they did bring back universe cards. I know if you ask Doug Sims there at Overpower Adventures, he does not like universe cards, the basic ones. Teamwork's he's good with, but the basic ones there's ones called training that are the same type of thing. But they have new ways, new home bases that let you use them, and some new characters that can use them in better ways. So hopefully they're not going to be as irrelevant in the new game. Okay, so let's see. Where am I? I think I've explained most of the game. Someone may ask, okay, you're running out of cards in your deck. What do you do? If you see my deck over there on the left with Scarlet Witch on the back there, that's my deck. Right above that is my power pack, and above that is the dead pile. So power pack is where you put all your power cards as you play them, as they're discarded. Everything else goes in the dead pile. There's also a defeated characters pile that's just to the left of that, where if someone dies or an event, those go there. It's basically like you're removed from the game pile. And when you run out of cards in your deck, you reshuffle your power pack, which is just all the power cards. So that's an interesting thing. If games last long enough, and you're both in power pack, then it can get pretty interesting. Or if somebody's in power pack because they have a smaller deck than the other and the other one's not, that gives the person not in power pack an advantage. So let's see, where are we in the game? I have not been paying the most attention to what's going on, but I just won a big hand. That's right. That's where I had bet 6 missions. And so so you may be asking, why don't you always bet a whole bunch? Well, another part about venturing, when you bet, you can bet up to 2 at no cost. But say I bet 3 cards, then my opponent can draw a card. If I bet 3 missions, the opponent can draw a card. If I bet 4 missions, they can draw 2 cards. So basically, for every mission you venture over that 2, then the opponent can draw cards. That's why if you have a great hand, you can't just be like, oh, I'm going to venture all my cards, because then the opponent gets to draw, and then it might not be as good, and you might lose a big bet there. So that gives some balance to the venturing side. So on that one, I believe that was still around where I had the KO event, and I got to draw a lot of cards, so I decided to venture a lot, and I was able to win that one and took out some of his characters. So right now, I'm using that artifact that's on the hand. What it does is it lets me bring a character who's died back from the grave, basically, for 1 turn. What I have to do is take the top 5 cards in my deck and put them into my dead pile to bring a character back. So I did that. I brought new warriors back for this round. So now I have 4 characters up front. So the way that works, that's the Infinity Gauntlet. That artifact is, you don't even have to put them in reserve if you have 3. You get to put them up and actually have 4 characters up front. So that's quite great. They leave at the end of battle, but still I can use them for this turn. And I'll say, I think I messed up a little here with what I was thinking. The reason I brought them back is because I had a good card for them. And after the fact, I realized I probably should have just placed out. You can place 1 card to your home base. So I could have placed my new Warriors card on my home base and then conceded this battle and then brought them back again next turn with a whole new hand, because I remember I didn't have the greatest hand that I should have played this one out. So, but yeah, spoiler alert, I guess, on for this hand at least. Oh, there's another type of card. So this I don't know if maybe mine came up earlier, but on Kai's home base, the Skelepion there, that is those are called aspects. And that one is any home base aspect, and it's basically a card that only can be played by a home base. So back in the old game, we only had I think it was strength. It's called A next. It was just the home base makes a level 4 strength attack, and then any character on your team can make an additional attack. And these are some of the new cards, some of the first new cards that Lazarus Rising Games made back when they were still called, what were they called? Just BMG, BMG, not like the music club, but yeah, they were called BMG, where there was like 3 of their last names combined. And that was right when they brought back Overpower a couple of years ago, and they made those, instead of just strength, they made a fighting one, intellect one, and energy one as well. And they made some new any heroes, did the same, because there was an any hero that was just a 4 fighting, and they added the strength and energy and intellect as well. So. And here, as you saw, I just played a new Warriors card, and what it was that was the reason I kept them. And it said the opponent cannot play any cards with a strength icon. And he used a negate from his battle site, which negates are great cards in this game. I'll just tell you that Scarlet Witch has a negate as one of her specials, is why a lot of people use her. I believe there's like 8 or so, or 10 characters if you count some variants that there are that have negates. So it's one of those, a lot of people say you can't be competitive without a character with a negate in your deck, and some people have had success without them, but it is very common to have one of these characters in your deck. Because negate's basically just any special that is played, they can play a negate to cancel it out. And that's one thing in the new game, there's not as many characters with negates, and if they do have a negate, their threat level is definitely up higher. So he attacked me with something. I played a Teammate Avoid, part of 9 or less from Chaos, and now he's playing a 7 energy. So I'll do a little commentary for a little bit now here that I've done some rules, so you'll see where we are. I defended that energy 7 with a fighting 7. The hand has an 8 of fighting, so they're able to defend that. Now they play an 8 special card. It's just an 8 any power, so that's something I've not talked about. There's a thing called any power, which basically it doesn't count towards Spectrum KO. Spectrum KO being like having different color icons on you, so it only counts towards getting them to that 20 cumulative KO. And there's also some any power power cards that are 1 per deck. There's only a 5, 6, 7, and 8, and those are good in the cases where you have maybe multiple 8 stat characters on your team, but they are 8 stat in different colors. Maybe you have an 8 fighting character and then an 8 strength character. Either of them could use that 8 any power card. So that is a benefit of the any power cards. So he's peppering my Chaos here. He has a multi-power card on him and now a fighting, so 1 more type besides fighting would kill him. I just gave Scarlet Witch 7 fighting for remainder of game with that artifact. Basically, I'm trying to stall right now, I'll tell you that. And the reason people would go for Chaos right now is because as a teammate dies, I get to draw a card because of Chaos's inherent. And again, I wish I would have just conceded this one and brought back New Warriors again next time, because I had no way. My goal here is I have cards in here to redirect hits, and normally I would redirect hits to New Warriors to have them die and allow me to draw 2 cards again. So that's why, and who knows if I would have got some next turn, but that would have, I felt more sealed a victory for me, and probably would have been better. Because I don't think, he would not have been able to venture for the win this turn, so I wouldn't have had to worry about that. Because you can only venture from if you have some in your victory, in your completed missions pile, you can venture from there, or you can venture from just your middle, your reserve missions pile. So if you have enough from the completed, if you venture 2 from the completed, you can bring 1 all the way up from the defeated to the top. A lot of thinking going on right now. I believe, so Ty is down to only 2 characters, but I mean the 2 main characters of his deck though, Mephisto and Grunge here. And he is still thinking. Like I said, I think in the preview here, this is round 5 of the Swiss. We were only playing 5 rounds. Normally we actually play 7 rounds of Swiss, but for the Champ of Champs, Doug just wanted it to be 5, and it did help. So we're not playing till midnight like sometimes we are. It helped be done a little quicker, and then a lot of the guys just got to hang out afterwards, so that was fun as well. Oh, so here's where Ty is using his so from his battle site, which you say it's from a character. It's a 5 energy that lets him take off a hit from his permanent record, and because of that, he gets to draw a card with that Asclepian home base. So right now, the venture is he has 8, and I have I have 8 on him with that any power, and he has 9 on me because he has that 4 and then a 5, and then I use a post card. I was going to try to pull out. There's something I can pull something of his from his permanent record out into current battle, so it would count for now. And he had the card that avoids an intellect icon, which an activator includes an intellect icon, so he could avoid it. And now he's attacking me with a 4.
What do you got left?
Oh, and I had a card that can only... He would need to have a power card placed for me to use this card. It basically takes one of the power cards he has placed to his character and attack a teammate with it. So, yep, but he didn't have any power. He didn't end up placing any power cards, so it was unusable. So he ends up winning this battle. So my 1 mission, or 2 missions, that's right. I had gone 2 missions for the win because that would have brought my defeated mission all the way up to the top, and that would have been the win there. So that's where I was thinking I should have just ventured 1, conceded it, placed my New Warriors card to my own vault, and then brought back New Warriors again this turn, and Chaos would have still been here, and I feel like I would have had it. I would have had to bet 3 cards to win now instead of just the 2 from last time, but I would have probably been feeling much better. So now, yeah, if I want to win, I would have to bet 3 cards now, 2 from the middle to go up, and then actually no, 4 cards now. That's right, because I lost that 1. So now I have to venture 4 to win. Whereas if I would have just ventured 1, conceded, I would have only had to venture that 1 from the middle, 2 from the top to win. Now, since there's 2 in the middle, 1 in the bottom, I would need to venture 4 to win, 2 from the middle, and 2 from the top to bring that 1 up. And now Ty has a good amount of missions up top as well. I think he's sitting at 3 missions up top and 4 in the middle, if I remember correctly. And then I have 4 up top, 2 in the middle, and 1 in the bottom. So there's 7 missions total. So, just in general, back to a little bit of, let's talk about the game. I'm very excited about the new game coming. For anyone interested in going to a tournament, the first tournament of the season, it's not going to be one of the LRG regionals with just the new cards, but the first tournament will be an NAOL tournament in Dallas, Texas. We normally have it in Oklahoma City, but I know people struggle to get there. So we're putting it in Dallas. Our good friend Carl from is helping us out with that. He's putting all the work behind it, so it's going to be great. It's going to be at a I forgot what the actual town is. It's one of the little suburbs of Dallas there. So come and join. It's May 9th and May 8th and 9th, or 9th and 10th. Let me check the calendar. May 9th and 10th. So May 9th will be a smaller event, and we're going to do something with just the new cards on Friday night. I'm hoping for a sealed event or draft event, but we'll see if we're able to get a box available to us to use for that. Otherwise, we'll probably just do just a constructed set with only the new ERB and the World Legends cards. But then Saturday will be your normal event, and the first one with all these old Legacy cards, plus any of the new ERB World Legend cards that want to be added. So this will be, it's going to be a first in a long time. 25 years in the making, the first actual set in 25 years. There are a little history here of that 25-year period. There was after the final set released in 1999 called the X-Men Overpower set, then they had plans to release another set called The Marvels, which never got released, but I don't know if it was leaked, but the all the cards, or most of the cards, I don't know if it was all or most, were leaked what they would have been. So fans made their own version of those cards, and then it became that, hey, those are going to be legal at our unofficial tournaments that started popping up again there in 2010, 2012, somewhere in that region is when some people started bringing tournaments back together. And Marvels was one that they allowed that helped shake up the environment, so it wasn't just the same thing that was happening back when the game died. And so that was one thing that sparked life into it. Then I know there was another fan-made set years later that they called Masters of Evil, because the Marvels was just all the good characters, and I believe it was found out that the plan was at some point to do a Masters of Evil set officially to give all the bad guy characters cards as well. So that was an unofficial set that just the community built together. But I know at that time it was just, then it became an issue with, well, rights and legality. So that's where I know a couple of the guys who were running that NAOL back then. That's when they looked at what can we do legally, and found out that they could buy the rights to Overpower, and here we are. They own the game, and now we're officially getting new sets with licensed characters, and it's a very exciting time. I know when they talked about doing this, it was one of those I hoped they could do it, but it seemed like a pipe dream to me. But they actually did it. They somehow did it. I'm very impressed and just very excited, very happy that this is all happening, and it's very surreal that Overpower is a thing again. It was my first trading card game back in the day, back in 1995 when I was 10 years old. Played with my dad, my cousin, and then got into some Pokemon, got into Magic, and led me to. I didn't find out about that they were still having tournaments until 2020 when I went to the first Oklahoma City tournament, March 2020 during COVID time. That was a very interesting time. So yeah, but that's where I played in my first tournament, and I ended up getting third place. It was great with a deck I made the night before. 'Cause I went. They had a Friday night fun event, and I went just to learn, because I played back in the 90s, but I didn't really play right. I never used battle sites. It seemed too complicated, and me and my dad kept playing throughout the years. It was more just we were trying to collect cards. That's where I even found out about this whole tournament, just trying to trade with people on some forums online. And found out there was a tournament in Oklahoma City, went to it, and so I just went there that Friday night to watch people play and learned a lot of the actual rules. There's just a lot of cards I didn't know that could be used defensively, that I thought only had to be offensively, and all these cards that I didn't think were good. And me and my dad, when we played, we'd never use them because that's no good. Why, that's useless. But even negates, I didn't know how negates worked, and it was like the best card in the game basically. So learned how to play. I built a deck that night at the hotel, came back the next morning, and Ed Kowalski, I don't know how to say his last name, rest in peace. He passed away a few years ago, but he was a great guy, and he was there at that tournament, and he helped me. He switched out a couple things in my deck, including I had Scarlet Witch in there, and I think I only had 2 negates, but that's all I owned. So he found someone else and loaned me a negate, so got me 3 negates in the deck, and I ended up getting third place in that tournament. So that was pretty exciting. It was a little different because I know that they had all the new people kind of play in one side tournament, and all the experienced people played in another side, and I knew enough. And then I had a decent enough deck, especially after Ed tweaked it, that I was able to get through a lot of those brand new people who really hadn't played the game at all. And then I made it into playing against the actual experienced people and started beating them too. So that was quite exciting. And then ended up playing against Sean Sawyer for the fourth place game, and ended up beating him. And yeah, it was great. We found out after the fact that I had incorrectly played. I think my Scarlet Witch, she only has a 5 intellect, and I think I blocked something with a 7 intellect, but wasn't until after the game that we realized that. So one of those things, as people say, mistakes happen during the game, and if it's both players' responsibility to catch things. That's not something I knew then, because I wasn't trying to do that, and I know that I would have taken it back if I knew it was a thing. And then, but we ended up splitting the third place prize anyway. So, but it was surreal at that point to even know that there was tournaments. And yeah, that's a little history there.
Keffer says it is an attack, and Marcel says it's not.
Oh, I can hear Doug in the background again talking to the people in the chat. Oh yeah, because I think while I was talking, there was a judge rule about how to use one of the postcards in Tithe Battle Site, and it ended up ruling against him, which was good for me. So I'm attacking that grunge, and yeah, I know he might have that avoid an intellect attack icon and draw in his hand, so I'm glad I'm using all these non-intellect cards against him. Because yeah, I just know if I can get rid of grunge, I'll be looking good.
Now Phil Keffer says we wrote it correctly. Phil Keffer agrees with us now.
Well, I hope you've enjoyed this experience. I know a lot of it's probably confusing, and again, like I mentioned, Ty makes some very complicated, fun, exciting decks. That's something I've always noticed with Ty, and any that you can watch with him on stream. Go find some of his games because he makes some very what's the word? Just innovative. That's it. He's very innovative with his deck building. And that's something I try to do, and I feel like I've gotten there with this deck that I made, that it's just something different. I don't want to just have the norm that there's a deck out there called the Cadillac deck. That the normal version, I think, is Spawn, the Scarlet Witch, Starjammers, and Doctor Strange in reserve. So it's just one of those that just has everything you need. And I built one. I've never actually played with it. I've never used it. I built it just because I wanted to, when I would play against my dad, that's what he would use. I would say, hey, use this. That's what most people are using. Give me practice. And then now I have it just in case I bring someone new to a tournament. I'll let them use that. It's a good starter deck. So where are we at on venture? Let's see. Because on this, oh, I didn't even mention this, but yeah, on this game, High has actually ventured for the win right here on this round. And I just ventured one. So that's grunge special on the hand up there. It says it acts as one of the hits on his permanent record, so he made it be that 8 any power. So he has 8 plus 4 on me. That's 12. And right now I think I had 2 6s on him, I believe. A 6 teamwork and a 6 fighting. Or is it a 7? I think it's a 6. And now I just threw a 6 any power on him. So that would be 18 on him, and there's 12 on me. Yeah, so if he wins this venture, then yep, he wins this. He wins the game. He wins it all because he ventured. I don't remember. It's 4 or 3. I'd have to go back. I was too busy telling stories at the time, but depends on how many I drew to know how many he bet. I'm pretty sure he bet 4. Because I remember it being a little bit more of a bigger deal. 3 wouldn't have been too crazy. So he's throwing a 4 there at the hand, and that would be get him up to 16 to my 18. One thing with Scarlet Witch, when she dies, that puts your opponent at -5 to venture that battle, or puts me at +5, whatever. It adds 5 to me when she dies. So that's one reason people also like Scarlet Witch, because people don't want to kill her because she adds 5 venture to them just when she dies. So I don't know if I said I took that 4 and now I'm thinking about what to do. Yep. Okay, so I put an image inducer. That is the card that I have a couple in my deck, and it's for shifting hits. So basically anything that right now it's really me stalling, but if he was to attack Scarlet Witch, I can shift it to the hand if I discard 2 cards from my draw pile into my dead pile. That's what I use, and like to bring new warriors back forward to try to kill them with that. So he used something to remove a hit. So now he's I have 12 on him, and he has 16 on me. So he's winning by 4 right now. One thing we know is I have, so what's placed to my Scarlet Witch is a negate the effect of any one special card played by opponent. So I could just use that on that special card on the hand to get rid of that 8. So I'm throwing a 5 at him, and this is where I'm hoping he doesn't have that avoid an intellect and draw. Which this is actually interesting because I believe I had 3/5 at the beginning of this turn, and I discarded a 5 any power. And after the fact, I'm like, I should have kept that because he couldn't block that. But luckily, he did not have the avoid and draw. So it's basically saved me right there that I kept that multi-5 with that intellect icon, because it says he must have an intellect icon hit to die. Okay, so then he's attacking my battle site. And the way that you can, so to kill a battle site, it has to take 30 damage. But people attack it more if they want to try to get some ability. So this Mephisto card says a 3. If it hits, you draw 2 cards. So he got to draw 2 cards. The only way to defend the battle site is with power cards from your hand usable by your team, or by using battle site cards themselves. You can't use team specials. So I couldn't have negated that. I could negate it now, but it's already done its thing. Now I'm hitting him with an 8 from Scarlet Witch. So let's see if any of those 3 cards in his hand, including 2 that he just drew from that Mephisto card, can do anything about this. Because that would get me up to 12, 20, 25. Put me at 25 to his 16. He's thinking. What's he gonna do? Post activator. Oh, sorry, beast. I thought it was supposed to. Okay, so he was still thinking about whether to take that 8. So he has locked out Scarlet Witch from only universe cards can be used against her. That's what that beast does. And then I just negate that special. So now he's at 8, and I'm at 17. Yeah, 17. 12 plus 5, 17. And he does a 3 now and draw 2 more cards. So now he's at 11, and he needs just the 5. All he needs is a 5 to time me. And he drew a Scarlet Witch card, which is unusable because she died, and he drew an Image Inducer because it's just an artifact. The shifting. So it just depends on what he has in that one card. He needed 5 points to at least tie. Oh, so he had a... Okay, so he had a Holocaust activator, and what he was saying is he had the tuck, which is something that allows him to put all the cards from current battle on a character into permanent record. So that could have taken all of those away from Grunge and put them on his permanent record, but he knew I had the negate. So that's where I wanted to keep that negate as long as I could, and so that's why he didn't play it, because he knew I would just negate it, and then Grunge died.
It's not over?
So we had to put those 4 missions down. I got my 1 up.
I step away for a minute and everything changes.
Yeah, I am now... Oh yeah, so, okay. Basically what's going to happen now is time has been called. This is the last hand. So whoever's winning after this hand wins the game. And I'm going to look at my mission count and his mission count. Basically, no matter what he ventures, as long as I just venture 1 and concede, you have to venture from the middle. I will have more than him. So I'll venture 1 there, it would go down. So I'd be at 4, 2, 1. Basically what you do is you take the top and subtract the bottom. So 4 minus 1, I'd be at 3 points. He can only venture up to 3, which would bring 3 up, and then he'd be at 3, 3, 1. So 3 minus 1, 2 points. So basically I'm going to just venture 1, concede, and win the game. And yeah, so this was a grueling battle, and I was very excited to beat Ty. I know they weren't using the same software that they normally use to determine, but I ended up being in 9th place and did not make it to the top 8. I thought this was... We both thought...
second hand. He still came back to battle.
There's Doug talking, so I was going to let that happen for a bit. But yeah, basically we both thought that this would be the person who won this would be into the top 8, but I don't know if it didn't make sense to me that somebody who did get in the top 8 started 0-2 while I started 1-1, and somehow they passed me, but I guess it's just the way the bracket went. And yeah, here we are now. I did not make it, so unfortunate I didn't get to try to be the champ of champ. but I know. I guess I won't spoil it for anyone who wants to go to the other videos, the other site to see who actually gets there. But yeah, I was the only 3 and 2 who did not make it. So ninth place there, but it was still a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it, and I'm glad Doug hosted it, and it was just great time. And then they also had the tournament for the rest of us going on. So the people who were there playing Friday night, anyone of them who didn't make it into the champ didn't make the cuts, then all of them got to play in another tournament. I believe I don't remember what the prizes were for that, but there were some good. Oh, he Doug provided some old ERB comic books, so that was some pretty great stuff. But no, it was a really great time. Got to meet every time, man. Get to meet some new people. I'm just so happy that that people who used to play are coming back. Some people are just hearing about it now and learning the game, and it's amazing. Like Doug's daughter and her husband just learned how to play here a few months ago, and in the qualifier round the night before, his daughter's husband. He went undefeated and made it into the champ of champs. So it's just amazing, and I'm so happy, so excited this is coming back. So yeah, but thanks for watching, and I hope you got something out of this, and I hope that more people who are interested or don't know anything about Overpower come over here and learn a little bit, and I just hope to spread the word, and I really want it to come back in all its glory. So just know it's an amazing game. All right, well, thanks for watching.